Sex, money, relationships, it's all the same damn thing. Whatever energy you bring in one area is the same energy that's going to show up in all other areas of life. So if you're blocking yourself in one area of life, you are blocking yourself in all areas of life. Let's clear that up today. So just to set the foundation of this conversation, all of this is just one subject. There is no separation between sex, money, relationships, business. It's all just a frequency. It's just me, it's just you, it's just energy. So the way that I feel about myself dictates all other areas of life. So if I show up with guilt, restriction, shame, hesitation, it all seeps into everything. When I shift the energy in one place, I shift everything. How you feel about yourself is how life will reflect back to you. The energy I show up with will be mirrored back in my relationships. It will be mirrored back in my bank account. It will be mirrored back in my body. If I allow full freedom in my sexuality, I allow myself full freedom in my finances. So when I remove the resistance and I make room for ease and flow and abundance, that translates into everything. And I noticed years ago when I was a teenager, young adult, there was a lot of guilt in my mindset when it came to having sex. Growing up in a culture and society where, and especially in the religious upbringing, there was so much focus on how wrong and just how utterly terrible and destined for hell you were going to be if you were gay, and if you were not only gay but if you were acting on that. And it was just years and years of that conditioning and that little voice that grew louder and louder, fueled by my surroundings and my environment. And that voice continually said that you're not worthy, you can't have it, no, that's off limits, that's off limits, that's off limits, that's off limits. On the other hand, I'm still a human being and I still want to explore sexual things. And in my mind, I was like, okay, well, I guess if I'm going to do it, I'm just going to do it. I didn't allow that conversation to restrict me from exploring what it was like to be with another man, but there was so much guilt every time. Or no, was there guilt? I don't know if it was just guilt. It was like the pleasure was very short-lived because in the moment, like I was fine, and I would be of the mindset that like, well, I'm gonna die and go to hell, so I might as well enjoy this. But that enjoyment was so short-lived, and I carried this energy around for so many years of not allowing myself to fully receive abundance. Because if we just again zoom out and think about all of these things as just you experiencing abundance coming in many form, coming in the form of health and money and vitality and relationships with other people. So I wasn't able to receive that and receive that fully. And it took many years of working on my surroundings and the environment that I was in, because I knew intuitively that if I could just be in an environment where there was less of that constant reminder of how wrong I was, then I would have enough space in the privacy of my own space in an environment that I created for myself. I would have the space to be able to adopt the mindset that I really desired, the mindset that said that I'm worthy, that I can have the things, that abundance is not off limits to me because of who I choose to lay down with. And so the more I let go, the more I can find true enjoyment in relationships, whether that be a short-term relationship or a long-term relationship. And my relationship with money improves as well. My income, my net worth, it all increases as I allow abundance in these other areas to increase, because these aren't really separate subjects. And as I think, especially as men, we have the ability to compartmentalize. It's like I'm thinking about it and it almost feels like a survival mechanism that I can detach from this area of my life so I can go and I can do this area of my life and this will support the rest of me. And so we have this ability to compartmentalize. But in truth, we are just vibrational beings and we're just emitting a frequency all day, every day. And that frequency is permeating each area of life. And so if I take the subject of sex and relationships, which is a huge part of our lives. Like, it's part of the human experience. And if I can create more spaciousness and create more openness, that openness is going to open itself into all areas of my life, including my finances. And so this interesting thought that I've been reciting to myself and affirming to myself more and more lately is that money is spiritual, pleasure is spiritual. All these things that, especially if you grow up in like heavy, thick religion, anything material and money and sex, these things are just, they're bad, and there's this taboo energy around them. But really, why the hell would we come into these physical bodies with all that is God, Christ consciousness, infinite intelligence, knowing that as a human being, these are the things that make up the human experience. Money and having income to pay bills makes up a part of the human experience. It's always been a part of the human experience. So why would creation energy have this like less than view of these really important things that are part of our human experience? So the universe didn't give us pleasure just to tell us that we can't enjoy it. And the more I relax, the more I'm able to just let life flow to me. The more I can relax into my natural desires, the more life can flow to me. So if you can allow more pleasure in your life, and I'm using that term very generally, right? The more pleasure you can decide that, yeah, I get to have that, and this is standard. This is just the baseline of me existing and breathing and waking up. Money is also a part of that. Pleasure is also a part of that. And so the more that you can allow pleasure into your life, the more you can allow money into your life. And so the last point I want to say is just about trusting your internal guidance system. And what does that mean? That is your emotions. So when I'm talking about these things that are spiritual, I'm talking about they're all connected to your emotions. It's all connected to your mood. From the time that you wake up, the seconds that you become consciousness and you are aware that you are awake, you begin emitting a frequency. And your emotions are a state-of-the-art GPS that is giving you all the clues about what it is that you need to have, or all the clues about what it is that is going to create the success in the very specific, unique, important way that you have defined it for your life. This really gets to be very simple, so simple that sometimes it's a little uncomfortable. And it can be as simple as, if it feels right to me, then it is right for me. It's literally that simple. There's no need to overthink. There's no need to question the how or question the why or consult to make sure everyone agrees and consult and make sure everyone understands. They don't understand, and that's okay, because they have their own internal GPS, and it is state of the art, and it is providing them with the perfect wisdom for them, and yours is providing you with the perfect wisdom for you. So when it comes to relationships, if any sort of connection, if any of it feels off, then it is off. And you get to trust that this means something, and I get to explore it, and I get to work it and refine this relationship, and we can talk it out, and we can do the things and blah, 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 blah. No matter if we're talking about a stranger, a hookup, or a lifelong partner, and everything in between, if it feels right, then it is right. If it doesn't feel right, I'm not saying break up with anybody just because something doesn't feel right, but that is a powerful clue that you must address, because if you do not address the clues that are presented to you by your emotions, by the thoughts that you're thinking and the sensations that you're feeling as you have connections and you make connections and you continue on with connections, right? That is influencing all the other areas, whether you like it or not, whether you're conscious of it or not, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, whether that sounds like bullshit or not, it is. And it can really be so hard, honestly, to trust your desires, because again, if you have grown up in a culture, society, religion that they say the things and they give the rules and they tell you how it's supposed to be with such conviction, and as one who is less conscious and less aware of themselves growing up as a kid or as a teenager. There's more of that receptivity just to sort of accept. I think for me, I kind of always had like a little bit of, yeah, no. But some of that still did, there was still a shadow being formed that had to be explored. And that exploration looked like, okay, well, who made these rules? Like who really? Like like where is the absolute truth that we can all just be aware of? Like these rules and these ideas about if you have too much of this, then it's a bad thing, and like these arbitrary lines that we create. And so I'm really happy that I have had this little standoffish thing or whatever. I don't, there's probably a better word for it, but through trial and error, I've been really able to trust in what I want to do and trust my heart and trust my desires. And sometimes I trust myself and I go forward with what I ultimately know to be true for me, kicking and screaming, and with a lot of pain and a lot of unnecessary suffering. And sometimes I go just like that. If my guidance system tells me to stop, I'm going to stop. If it tells me to keep going, I'm going to keep going. There's no forcing, there's no fear, there's no judgment. There's just, what do I feel? What is it giving? And then we're going to go ahead and do it. So I want to encourage you and invite you to ask yourself, where am I still carrying guilt that isn't even mine? What if you truly allowed yourself to have everything that you've been desiring, been thinking about, without guilt, without shame, without second guessing, without self doubt? If you're looking for more support about how to accomplish that specifically in the areas of your finances, check the link below for more support. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments if this resonated. I'd love to hear from you, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.